Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. And what I want to describe is a mobile tool cart here that I'm putting together. Now I've been putting quite a bit of time into this, so I just want to show you what I'm up to. I am open to some suggestions, and I truly recommend everyone kind of build one of these things. So first of all, I wanted to make it mobile because I find myself working up here, working down in the lower garage area on the driveway, and then I find myself back up in the shop, and I seem to be leaving tools at each location. That's wasting a lot of my time. So to make it mobile, I went with big tires on the back and these little feet things on the front of it, and I put the tires part way underneath it, which makes it easier to wheel, right? It kind of moves the center of gravity a little bit, puts a little more weight on the tires, so it's easier to move about. Now I wanted to set this up with plenty of work surface to work on, nice flat work surface, and I also wanted in an indented area, and you guys could see there's all kinds of nuts and bolts and loose stuff in there. I did that deliberately so stuff would not get lost, right? As I'm working on stuff, I can kind of put the parts there and they wouldn't get lost. I also wanted to be able to put a tray on here, have it nice and stable, so if I'm working on something, I can have everything in the tray, then pick up the tray, move it elsewhere, and be able to start another project. I wanted a vise on here, and not just any vise. See the way I have this thing turned around backwards, right? Such that as I'm rolling it, it's not standing off, grabbing onto everything I go near, right? I wanted to set it up so that it would roll itself out of the way. I also wanted to set it up so it would lean over the edge in both directions, so that as you're clamping things, you could kind of get it out of the way of the table, particularly for that direction, right? So I got the right vise, I got it on there. I bought this vise specifically. I wanted it to hold down in 4 corners. That makes it much more stable, and it's bolted down into this rail and that far rail, so it's got 3 points down. This point goes through this, and I got 2x4s underneath, so it's clamped down pretty well, right? This vise is as solid as it could be. Notice also I put it over that leg, right? That gives me quite a bit of strength. I wanted a flat metal surface to work on, and I also wanted a sharp edge should I need to kind of bend some soft metal, aluminum or thin sheet metal, right? I wanted that edge so I could do that, and I could also clamp to this, right? So I got all of that. Shelves. So far, there's kind of one on the bottom that I've not done anything with. You see the one that's sitting there now, the jump packs on there, the lightweight welder, the arc welder, 3-in-1 welder is sitting there. And I have that little basket of tools. Depending on what I'm up to, I can kind of change things up for that. I think I am going to generally keep the welder there, and I might use part of a computer cabinet or something to kind of cover it up a little bit to keep the sparks from falling on it and melting the display. I'm also not thrilled with the welder being aimed out like that, because stuff can damage the face when you're moving this around. So those are a couple of things I've taken note of, but I'll take care of that as this whole design moves forward. About finding tools, there are certain tools my hands are on almost constantly. These open and box end wrenches, my 1/4-inch set, right? This particular handle, right? The Phillips and the regular screwdrivers, that's 3/8, right? The SAE set, the metric hex keys on the end, the tape, right? This stuff all the time. My hands are on those. Also, note the safety glasses right there, the tape measures, the marker. Once again, all this stuff I use like constantly, and I'm always putting it down. Then I have to go find it. So I find this, then I have to go back and get this, right? Then I need something a little bigger. Then I have to go find that. Now all of it's in one place. Notice the 4 drawers on here. Also important, right? In the bottom drawer, I put all the welding stuff that goes with that welder, right? So I got the welding rods, I got the clamps for arc, for MIG, for gas wire, and for TIG. Everything is right in that cabinet, right in the lower drawer. Next drawer up, I put the electric tools that I always use, whether they're battery powered or not. Note the grinder, and a box of bits are also going to go in here, right? So whenever I need that stuff, it's right there with me. Next up are the electrical, right? I got my 2 portable CDIs. This is a loose guy, the multimeter, my battery tester, tweaker screwdrivers, and that's the soldering iron, a Weller soldering iron. That's the pistol version. I'm also going to put the hot stick right in that box. I'm going to get some of the foam out of there and squeeze both of those in there. Here's the top drawer. Some of the more commonly used hand tools, obviously. The drill bits, or they can move down even, right? The couple of big screwdrivers. The 3/8 drive, 1/4 inch extension, once again to go with those. And the 1/2 inch stuff, right? I also put some of the bigger pliers in here. Like, I don't use these all the time. Probably the hammer's going to move out of here, move up there like that, because I frequently use a hammer. Now, as I use this tool bench, notice I have some expansion space up there, right? This is not permanent. This metal piece is, but the rest of it could all move around. I might drill holes and drop the screwdrivers down in here. But there are a few other things I want to add to this. The chemicals. I want to set it up so that I have WD-40, the blaster, rust penetrant stuff. Starting fluid, carburetor cleaner. I really want to get those either lined up there or back down underneath here. Probably it's better to put them up a little higher, keep them away from the sparks when one is arc welding, right? So that's one thing I have left to do. I'm debating whether or not to permanently mount an extension cord to this, as in that GFI box right there. Just kind of stick it right in the center here. There's still place for the hand grips to go for wheeling this thing, right? So that's something I'm considering. What to do with the clamps, it depends on what I'm up to. I might just put those all along the top, right, just to be able to get them. Now, I've built other rolling carts. I built a few of these rolling carts or workstations, whatever you want to call them. This one has worked out pretty well. You can see the drill presses here, the cutoff, right? The small metal cutoff, right? You got your belt sander, you got your grinder, and one side is a grinder, one side is a spinning wire brush, right? And then you got your flat and disc sander here. The flat belt sander, this is handy even if it's not running, because a lot of times you just got to kind of flatten things out a little bit, so that's really handy. I haven't used the disc on it all that much, but having all this stuff on this station here, and you could just kind of spin it around to what you need, whether it's the drill press or the cutoff or the narrow belt sander, the wide belt sander, or the grinder. So this has been handy, and I think I think moving toward the next setup also will be handy. One thing that hasn't really worked out for me, I have that welder down there. It's good if I roll something in here and have to kind of weld up to it, but it's not so good for fabrication because you got to set up a whole separate table. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and it'll give you guys some ideas for something that perhaps you want to build. Once again, mobile, tool cart, fabrication, flat table to work on. All the tools I commonly use are all in one place, right? And it's kind of highly visual. You can see very quickly, am I missing anything, right? And as you're putting stuff away, you could just put it back on. This tray affair here also, I think it'll be very, very helpful for, you know, putting the sockets back in. First of all, for not losing the sockets, and then once again, putting the sockets back in, getting the screwdrivers back where they belong. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to drill some holes so only the tops of the handles stick up on the screwdrivers. I think that'll work better. I'm trying not to crowd stuff here too much, right? You want to be able to get this out easily without fighting it, right? Tape, right? Marker. I wish I had a dime for every minute I've spent walking around looking for the 10mm, because I took it out of the set and put the set down in one place and put the 10mm down in another place, right? So hopefully this moving cart will begin to save me from some of that, right? It'll help me get a little better organized, help me make a little better time when I'm working on a project. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and once again, I hope it helps you guys move towards some kind of organization. There's nothing more frustrating than spending your first 15 minutes on any job, you know, finding 90% of your tools, then the next 45 minutes of any job, finding the remaining 10% that you need to complete the task. I want to thank you all for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please remember, feet down, heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.